The federal crackdown on illegal immigration is starting to affect the Texas agriculture industry. Some farmers say their workers are too scared to show up for work.
Texas, our #1 farming state, is burning its own crops. Yes, really, in Texas, the top agricultural producer in America, farmers are literally setting their own fields on fire. We're talking about standing wheat being burned mid-harvest, not because they hate gluten, but because there's no one to harvest it, no buyers, and no storage. Over 50,000 Texas farms have folded in the last year alone, per state agriculture data. Why? Thanks to exploding fuel, fertilizer, and irrigation costs, and a devastating labor collapse. Remember when Trump promised to fix immigration? What he really did was chase away 40% of America's undocumented farm labor overnight with his crackdowns. Now, there's no one to pick, no one to milk, no one to harvest. But hey, as long as Mar-a-Lago's buffet is stocked, right?
Local farm worker advocates are calling out President Trump's directive telling ICE to pause raids at farms, restaurants, and hotels.
Legal labor is unaffordable, so farms rot. Need replacement workers through the legal H-2A visa program? Great. Just cough up $20,000 per season per worker. Most small farms can't afford that, but of course Trump's billionaire donors can. Meanwhile, crops rot. Cows go unmilked. Families lose their legacy. Before we continue, click subscribe below. We don't sugarcoat. We don't protect politicians. We expose what others won't. Canada is buying up America, one farm at a time. What happens when American farmers give up? Canadian investors swoop in. When a Texas rancher quits, some foreign fund scoops up the land, not for crops, but for distribution centers and warehouse complexes. Food system? Dead. Logistics empire? Booming. Water war with Mexico. And Canada wins again. The Rio Grande is drying up. That's not even the worst part. A water dispute with Mexico exploded, and instead of Texas corn or wheat, Mexico's buying food from Canada. That's right, Texas lost its export contracts, and Canada took the business. In some cases, Mexico literally skipped Texas to order from Saskatchewan. And no, Trump didn't renegotiate NAFTA to fix this. He just rebranded it like it was a bottle of Trump vodka and called it a day. Rain in East Texas, still a disaster.
So the heavy rain this week had a negative impact on, among others, schools, first responders, and even farmers.
Even regions not hit by drought are imploding. East Texas got too much rain. Seedlings drowned. Equipment sat idle. Whole planting seasons were missed. Timing is everything in farming, and Texas is out of sync, out of cash, and out of time. Mid-2025 estimated losses for Texas agriculture, $2.7 billion, according to the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. Meanwhile, in Canada, it's subsidy spring as Texas farmers burn fields. Canada's planting gold. Land values are rising. Government subsidies are flowing, and Canada is signing billion-dollar export deals with countries that used to rely on the USA. Saskatchewan is literally inviting foreign farmers to apply. And guess who's lining up? Texans, Californians, Americans who just want to grow food without being strangled by red tape and right-wing chaos. Nebraska, another pillar of American agriculture, collapses. Enter Nebraska, once the dependable rock of U.S. grain production. As of summer 2025, wheat fields are silent. Not because of drought, not because of war, but because European buyers are fleeing U.S. grain contracts, citing, wait for it, political instability. Let me translate. Foreign markets don't trust a country where Donald Trump might return to power. Wheat falls to $5 per bushel, below the cost to grow it, and with wheat crashing to $5 a bushel, farms are bleeding cash. Banks won't lend unless there are guaranteed buyers, and thanks to political whiplash, most farmers have none. Add to that, a nasty fungal disease called tar spot is sweeping across corn and soy fields. Result, no profit, no credit, no hope. Canada cleans up again. While Nebraska collapses, Canada's agriculture infrastructure is thriving. They've invested in ports, storage, rail, and now control more of the global grain trade than ever before. Guess which country's grain is still reaching Asia, Europe, and Latin America without delays? Not us. The dominoes are falling. When farms vanish, entire communities collapse. Property tax base disappears. Schools cut back. Hospitals shrink. Fire departments close. Small towns hollow out. Younger Americans, they're not even trying to farm anymore. Not because they're lazy, but because there's nothing left to inherit. Canada welcomes what the US rejects. Canada is offering land, labor, subsidies, and stability. To the very American farmers our system is driving out. Bottom line, Texas is our #1 farming state, and it's imploding. Nebraska was our grain anchor, and it's losing global contracts. Canada is taking over, and they're doing it using our abandoned land. So here's the real cliffhanger. If this is what's happening to the biggest states in American agriculture, what happens when the fruit and veggie capitals start to fall? Because Arizona and California are next. And let me tell you, that collapse is already underway. Stay tuned. Arizona and California, America's produce kings are falling fast. If Texas and Nebraska were the early warning sirens, what's happening in Arizona and California is the alarm bell you can't hit snooze on. These two states used to grow everything from your lettuce and tomatoes to eggs, berries, and fruit. But now, they're bleeding farms so fast you'd think it was a controlled demolition. Except it's not controlled, and the demolition crew is wearing MAGA hats. Arizona, from farm belt to dead zone. Once upon a time, Arizona was a proud blue-collar agriculture state. Hardworking immigrants, tough desert farmers, good people. Now, Arizona has the highest agricultural abandonment rate in the US, according to 2025 USDA figures. And the cause? It reads like a Trump policy wish list. Ice raids mid-harvest, crops left to rot.
Shows federal agents chasing workers down the rows of a field in Oxnard. The Department of Homeland Security hasn't responded to my questions about the operation, but according to local city officials, roughly 40 were detained.
In early 2025, federal immigration agents stormed Arizona farms, unannounced mid-harvest, in a political stunt to look tough on the border. The result? Entire work crews disappeared overnight. Even legal workers fled out of fear. No hands, no harvest. Contracts canceled, crops abandoned in the ground. Trump didn't deport illegals. He deported Arizona's entire agriculture workforce. And now the lettuce is dying with no one to pull it from the dirt. Then came water cuts, egg farm culls from bird flu, and zero federal aid. Farms shut down, warehouses closed, families fled, many of them now applying to move to Canada. California, from breadbasket to breakdown, electricity costs to pump water are up 150%. New groundwater bans, methane limits, and red tape are choking farms. Nearly half of all Central Valley fruit farms are losing money. Some have switched to agri-tourism, but when cheap imports from Mexico and Chile flood the shelves, they can't compete. America's fruit basket can't feed itself. Peaches rot. Apples are sold at a loss. Local fruit is unaffordable. The dream of farming in California? Dying because politicians abandoned food producers and Canada stepped in to catch them. Bottom line, Arizona lost its labor, water, and policy support. California is being outpaced by snowy provinces. American farms are disappearing. Canada's recruiting the survivors. Coming up, Iowa and the final collapse. Iowa, the symbolic heart of US agriculture, is next, and it's already flatlining. For generations, Iowa was the face of American agriculture. Cornfields, red barns, family names on mailboxes. Now, that image is crumbling, not from disaster headlines, but from quiet collapse. The family farm is dying. Without a sound, by mid-2025, 7,800 farms in Iowa vanished. That's 1 in 6. No fire, no war, no media coverage, just debt, exhaustion, and no one left to take over. Those still standing, barely breathing. Too wet to work. No days left to farm. This year, many Iowa farmers had only 4 to 5 workable days per month. The rest? Soil too soaked to plant, tractors sitting idle. Entire seasons missed, and with no national climate plan in place, farmers are stuck praying while Washington tweets. Costs soar, prices crash. Fertilizer is still 30% more expensive than in 2023. Corn and soy prices are stuck in the basement. Agriculture giants like ADM and Cargill locked in bulk contracts that crush local farmers' family farms can't break even, let alone compete. Bankruptcies surge. Wall Street buys in. When a farm dies, Chapter 12 filings skyrocket, equipment is auctioned, and land goes to the highest bidder. Who's buying? Not neighbors, not cousins, hedge funds, foreign investors, pension firms, because land is still valuable even if the people on it aren't. The loss is personal, not just financial. Here's what doesn't make headlines. 85% of Iowa farms are family-owned. When one folds, it's not just a line on a spreadsheet, it's a name erased from the mailbox, a legacy bulldozed, and a generation's dream lost. For many older farmers, the real heartbreak isn't debt, it's the silence. No kids returning, no seeds in the soil, just dust. Even legal workers are leaving. Iowa's not just losing land, it's losing labor. Legal seasonal crews are skipping the state because even with paperwork, they don't feel safe anymore. No workers, no harvest, no hope. Meanwhile in Canada, while Iowa sinks, Canada's rising again. Signing export deals, expanding ports, investing in grain railways, and now they're recruiting us. What Canada offers that America no longer does. Crop insurance, equipment grants, rural relocation support, skilled worker pipelines, predictable policy. They're doing what America used to be proud of, backing the people who grow the food. The final question. Farming used to be a calling. Now it feels like a trap. If Iowa, the symbolic heart of American agriculture, is gasping for air, what happens next? While 50,000 American farms vanish into bankruptcy, foreclosure, or foreign ownership, Canada is just getting started. They're buying land, locking global deals, and recruiting American talent. This is not seasonal. This is not normal. This is not winning. This is a power transfer from the US to Canada. And the ones paying the price? Farmers, families, and you. Ask yourself, were American farmers just collateral damage in a political game? Or were they the first casualties in a quiet war no one told us we were losing? Hit subscribe. We don't spin, we don't sugarcoat, we track collapse and who profits from it.